Hi, I'm Ben. Let me show you around my house.
We are Barry, Ben, Jamie and Mike, the guys from Sorted Food. When it comes to cooking, everyone likes different things, so today join us in one of our homes to see what we love to eat and why. Get ready, because we're making it personal.
Everyone knows how to make a risotto. We've done loads of them before, they're really easy. But seeing as this recipe is all about Ben, we thought why not do a really chefy version?
Yeah, I love risotto, and this one in particular because it's got mushroom at every level.
Okay.
It's a vegetarian risotto that I think is top notch. It starts with the stock, which is also mushroom flavoured. So celery, carrot, I'm going to roughly hack up.
They're not mushroom flavoured.
This
isn't mushroom flavoured.
Not yet, the mushroom comes later.
Am I dicing?
No, you can leave it actually as it is. That's going in along with the carrot, the celery. They're kind of base flavours to stock, along with a couple of peppercorns, a couple of bay leaves. And then obviously we can't make a mushroom stock without mushrooms, so this is where the first mushroom flavour comes in.
Porcinis.
Dried porcini mushrooms, and I love keeping these in the cupboard because they add sort of an umami flavour to so many things, not just mushroom risotto. Put them into loads of stuff, even sort of bolognese and things like that. It just adds a real depth of flavour. So they're going into the water to hydrate, and then we can bring the whole thing up to a boil, and that will be the perfect stock to go into our delicious risotto. And then next, the base to our risotto, which is going to be onion, which I'm going to dice up nice and fine. And if you can do the same with a clove of garlic, you're on to a winner.
At school, the teachers were horrified that you wanted to be a chef.
Yes, I think...
Because you should have been like, you know, a Stephen Hawking type scientist and saved the world from some deadly disease.
You've got to follow what you love, and I loved food, and I just trained and went from there. And I've learned more in the last 4 years from the Sorted lot. And when I say lot, I don't mean you four, I mean the people watching, and inspiring us to actually go out and learn more than I did probably at uni.
I don't think dicing gets much better than that.
At which point, it can go into a pan with a shot of oil and a knob of butter. And the butter's important. We're going to add butter because butter is flavour, but you also need the oil in there so it doesn't burn. I'm going to put half of this in now, and we put half a knob of butter in at the end of the recipe, just to kind of melt it into the risotto. But that can go on with some fresh herbs. Grab some fresh. Why are you laughing?
I'm just laughing at the herb garden that's just happily sitting there on your windowsill.
It's sitting on my dishwasher, it's fine. So that's going to go in right at the start, fresh thyme, and again we can put some in later on so you don't lose the freshness of that. Next up, more mushrooms. So these are chestnut mushrooms, which are going to form kind of the bulk mushroom.
Okay.
And we've also got some wild mushrooms that we're going to use right at the end just to dress it. So some oyster, some shiitake, whatever you want, but pick something that you like.
And this is the thing that people don't know much about Ben, is that he loves to do mushroom.
Do you know the would you rather?
Yes.
I was given the challenge, would you rather give up steak or mushrooms? And I was divided. Don't get me wrong, I love a good steak, but mushrooms for me, love them.
Well, I think I'm sitting on the other side of the fence with that. I would always choose steak.
You're on the
Steak,
cattle
steak.
grid,
Yeah, exactly. What would you do? Steak or mushrooms? It's not a choice.
It is a choice.
It's
It's a brilliant choice. Right, can you chop up some of these?
Yes.
So there we go. You can see our onion's nice and softened. And smell that. I know I'm banging on about flavour.
It's really good.
Buttery, garlicky, thyme onions. Back on the heat because you want it to stay hot as you add in all of our rice. So this is arborio rice. Good for risotto because they're short grains, they're plump, they're very starchy. In fact, look at my fingers.
Oh yeah.
Already, that's all the starch. That's what helps to thicken a risotto.
It's like chalky.
So then the rice goes in, and once that's all covered in the buttery onions and every grain is covered, in with a glass of Italian white wine, and that's going to go in there as well.
You love your white wine.
And it's important to keep stirring the rice at this point, because that's what agitates the rice and all the starch leaks out, and that's what thickens it. It's kind of food science.
Oh,
really.
you love a bit of food science.
Now, as Jamie alluded to, I was a bit of a geek at school. I used to love science and maths, which is why I still try and fit it into food where I can. I don't want to know just how to cook, but also why and what. And these books help me get there. We've got the Flavour Thesaurus, flavours that naturally combine with each other. Some you would expect, some that are a bit more unusual. Larousse Gastronomique, obviously a classic. And this one, McGee, probably the epitome of food culture and science. It's a bit of a hefty one, but if you want to know anything about how food and cooking fits together with a scientific background, then that's the one to dip into. As if that's not enough, obviously we've got Cooking for Geeks, a classic, and for those times when I just want to make something that the other three might be impressed with, then my inspiration comes from this, on a stick. And once all of that is absorbed in, I'll just show you guys this. So the wine has been absorbed, we can now add in the stock, one ladle at a time. The stock has to be hot. Only put in a ladle or half ladle at a time, then keep stirring it until it's absorbed and it's back to that consistency before you add in more hot stock. and you do that for about 20 minutes or so. So you're in charge of that.
Lovely.
Meanwhile, over here, I'm going to take broad beans and I'm going to shell this. Now this is very chefy, fiddly. Now shelling broad beans, you don't have to shell them, you can leave them in their shells, but if you're going to do the perfect risotto, these bits are a little bit tough and leathery, so get rid of them, and it is a bit fiddly. But cooking falls into two brackets. You either sort of throw it together and let bold flavours do their thing and enjoy it, or a labour of love, and you have to be a bit of a perfectionist for that.
Yeah, now would we class you as a perfectionist?
Those of you who've been following Sorted for a while will know that I do play the guitar, but I have to be honest, I'm not a musician. I learned at school through a series of sort of calculated methods, finger patterns, notes, staves, numbers, counting. I can't remember music, I have to rely on sheet music and sight read. I can't go anywhere without my footstool to raise my left leg, which I used to get a lot of stick for, can't imagine why. And then the guitar is something that I just enjoy to do in a very relaxed environment. Next up, the mushrooms. So these are sliced, then they go into a pan. You could just cook them in the risotto and they'll kind of sweat and wilt down.
Yep.
But I prefer to pan fry them, a little bit of butter, salt and pepper, and get some good colour on them. So they're going to go in there. Season the mushrooms up and add a knob of butter as they fry. And then we can leave both to cook, the mushrooms and the risotto, until they're done. There we go, risotto cooked, plump, beautiful consistency.
My muscles have really had a good workout.
You have been stirring like a master. Next up, we've got the porcini in there. Next up, all of the rest of our mushrooms going in. And into the hot pan, the last of our mushrooms we're going to use as a garnish in a moment, so they will toast off again. We'll stir this in along with our broad beans, which will just heat through in that risotto. A generous grating of parmesan. Actually, this is pecorino. I prefer pecorino. It's slightly sweeter almost, and slightly saltier.
And slightly more vegetarian.
And definitely more vegetarian than parmesan. Little drizzle of cream, tiny knob of butter. As I said, one right at the end just helps to make this something quite special.
Because the texture of a risotto has to be just right, doesn't it? It can't be too gloopy and it can't be too runny.
Yes, it should relax on the plate. And once you've given it time to rest, if you find it is a little bit too gloopy, a splash of boiling water or your stock again, just to loosen it up.
Okay.
We're about good to serve that. So grab yourself a warm plate and portion our risotto. You don't need a huge amount because it is very filling. All that really starch is still in there. Those mushrooms just on top like that, keeping their mushroom shape. A little bit of cress.
Did you grow that in a potato?
No, on cotton wool with my herbs.
Yep.
A little more cheese. And then, as if we haven't had enough mushrooms, we've had the porcini in the stock, finished with some of the other wild mushrooms, and then finished with truffle oil. So just a tiny, tiny drizzle, and that's a fragrance that's just so beautiful.
Well, that is made personal for Ben. It's his chef's mushroom risotto.
Sorted.
Why am I doing this with my hands? There are so many flavours in there.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
That has made all of my stirring worth it. So would you say this is one of your signature dishes?
I think it's probably up there. If I've got to impress someone, I'll often throw a risotto together because I love it and I hope they will do too.
Nice. Do you have a signature dish? Why don't you comment below, let us know. Comment below, let us know.